All right, y'all. It is your girl, Queen B, coming to y'all with yet another reaction. Now, I've been just doing a little bit of research. And of course, I just wanted to find out just a little bit more about who Liz Cheney really is. Because, I mean, there's been talk that she's also now trying to clean up her mess. Now, for those who don't know, she was a former Republican. Okay. One of the many who also turned her back on Trump. It was due to the, January situation back in 2021. And from there, she decided to, you know, join the other side. Okay. It's also said that she was one of the ones who endorsed Kamala. For the very first time, she voted blue and lost, of course. But I was just doing some digging, and I believe she had joined The View to talk about it. And I believe this was before Trump actually won, because recently she made a post on X, just trying to clean things up. So, of course, I decided, I was like, well, let me find this where she actually went on to The View with, of course, we already know who these ladies are, having huge meltdowns since Trump won. So I said, hey, let's go ahead and dive in to it. And y'all help me out in the comment section if y'all want to add anything else to Liz Cheney. I just been like, okay, let me just see. I know a lot of y'all are not too fond of her, but this is how you go about researching somebody. Because I was like, okay, no, she once worked with Trump, but now she's not. You endorse Kamala, and then, you vote blue and you lose. And then, so I be wanting to know, who are the ones that turned their backs on Trump and why? Because if we're going to research, you got to research everything, right? Because that's all about learning, finding information, and all of that. So with that being said, y'all, let's dive into The View. I know I said I wasn't going to fool with these ladies, but I wanted to hear what she got to say, because I believe this was before Trump won. So let's get it.
Cheney has a family history of conservative politics, but she is once again bravely putting her country over party by calling out you-know-who as unfit, and she's crossing the aisle to campaign with Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris. Please, please welcome this extraordinary woman, Liz Cheney.
If I'm not mistaken, too, I believe Trump was saying something, because I don't know if she's for wars or something like that, and he was just pretty much making a statement like, she wouldn't need to. What if she was like one of the people to be in the front line? She needs to be the first one in the front line of a war, something like that. Something in that nature Trump has said. So I'm just really trying to see what caused the split between them, besides that situation that happened back in January 2021.
I think I echo everyone. We owe you such a debt. Well done, and thank you.
No, listen,
you.
it's so important. And as you guys know, and as you've talked about, there are so many Republicans who are crossing the aisle. I mean, there is just this unprecedented coalition that's coming together behind Vice President Harris, because it's not about partisan politics. It's about the future of our country.
Well, since vice chairing the House Select Committee investigating the attack on the Capitol and your endorsement of the vice president, Trump's attacks against you have been unrelenting. He's called you to be jailed for treason. He's called you a Muslim-hating warmonger. And then by far, in my view, the most serious direct threat against you. We have a
But can I just say something? What have y'all been calling this man for all these years, though? What makes it right for y'all to call him out his name and put these lies and everything on him, but he can't express himself on how he feel about y'all? It's just always one side.
A clip of it.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Now, Trump's campaign said he was criticizing your willingness to start wars and send American troops into combat without having seen combat. But now he's doubled down on his rhetoric, calling you a war hawk who wants to kill people unnecessarily and calling you a disgrace. What is your reaction to the clip we saw?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, he's said this nonsense about sort of, you know, war hawk before, but what he did a couple of days ago, he's never done before. Taking the step of saying, you know, 9 rifles shooting her in the face, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows it's a threat. It's an
direct
attempt
threat.
to intimidate.
Yeah.
Obviously, the intimidation won't work. But what he's doing, frankly, is every.
But there is another video that has come out. She's saying and threatening all this other type of stuff. Now, I believe this was, like I said, before he won, because all of a sudden, she's starting to clean up her mess too. She's starting to clean up her mess too. I'm going to do that reaction next. So
Every day when I'm out there, I'm talking about his lack of fitness, and especially making sure people remember what he did while he watched television as our Capitol was attacked for over 3 hours. He watched police officers be brutally beaten. He was told the vice president.
my thing is this, and to my understanding and my research, y'all, and I'm just going to say this. Wasn't Trump the one that tried to call and tell them that they were going to need way more like officers out there and all of that? Did he not say that? And to my understanding, didn't they just push him to the side and was like, you know, kind of like shut him off or whatever? Wasn't he the one trying to warn? Wasn't he the one that was saying when he had the speech, let's be peaceful, let's, you know, go peaceful about this? What y'all not finna do is just try to spin a block on this man and try to put this on him as if it was his fault, because it's not. He did try to warn, and y'all do what y'all always do: push him to the side, ignore him.
President had been evacuated. He said, so what? People were rushing in, pleading with him, tell the mob to leave, and he wouldn't. And that level of depravity, he knows he has no defense to that. And he knows that the American people will not entrust again with power anyone who would do something that cruel. And so because he can't respond to that, he tries to change the subject. He tries to threaten. And it's what autocrats do.
That's right.
To try to get their political adversaries to be silent.
Well, Liz, you threw your support behind Vice President Harris in September, and you not only endorsed her, you, for the first time ever, voted for a Democrat. So I want to ask you how that feels, but I also want to ask, was any part of that this idea of reclaiming the actual conservative values of the party? Because I always say, to get the Republican Party back, they have to get it out of Trump's hands.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I think,
first of all, there is only one serious, responsible adult in this race. There's just one. And it's not a race where we have the luxury of being able, you know, sometimes conservatives will say, well, I'm going to write in an alternative. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I'm going to write somebody in. And I want to make sure people all across the country understand you don't have that luxury. We have to defeat him. And I can't tell you how proud I was to fill in that, you know, circle next to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
And I can't tell you how proud I was to bubble in that circle for Trump.
I mean, it really.
talk us through your thought process? Because I remember when we did a book event for your book in Miami, I asked you if you were going to endorse Kamala Harris, or maybe it was Biden back then. I can't even remember. And you weren't ready to. But something happened, right? Something happened where you did become ready. And I'm wondering if you can talk us through that thought process for Republicans or independents, right-leaning independents, who might be looking at that ballot and just having a really hard time bubbling in.
Don't look like
Kamala
they had
Harris.
a hard
Do you feel
time
that
picking who
that
they wanted.
voting for Kamala Harris means abandoning being a Republican? I mean, talk us through the process.
Look, the most conservative principle for conservatives, for anybody, is being faithful to the Constitution.
That's right.
And in this race, Donald Trump is certainly not a conservative. Donald Trump is advocating policies like this massive tariff structure that he's proposing that will raise everybody's taxes, that will drive inflation up, that will drive the debt. I mean,
it's already driven up.
He's not conservative. For me,
Y'all, forgive me so much for talking so much in here, but I cannot just sit here and watch this and just have her saying this stuff. And as we can see now, Trump won. These are just all lies. Like, if you could just sit, like, no. Annoying.
it came down to two things. One, realizing we have to make sure we defeat him. And it's not an academic exercise of saying, I wish this ideal person were running, so I'm going to write that person's name in. But I also have had the chance to spend time with Vice President Harris and to get to talk to her, to get to know and understand her sincerity about being a president for all of us, and her sincerity about
she's not.
being a faithful public servant, somebody who is going to operate in good faith, and somebody who's the kind of person that will be able to lead and to inspire millions of Americans and especially our little girls. And I think that's so important.
Don't you think Republicans need to know that if you vote this time for Kamala, that doesn't mean you're going to vote for Democrats the rest of your life? And that doesn't mean you lose your ability to criticize Kamala if she becomes president.
No, absolutely.
If you disagree on policy.
For sure. And I think the Republican Party, once we get through November, there is going to be a lot of changes that are going to need to be made. But you're right. Yeah.
Well, Liz, I want to ask you, and you and I have talked about this a lot, to be in this moment required a lot of Republican enablers. We think of people like Kevin McCarthy, Mike Johnson, Mitch McConnell, who've heard the same words that we've all heard. They've seen the same actions by Donald Trump, yet continue to make excuses. And after the comment against you this weekend, he talked about basically the press being shot at. Every day there seems to be something more depraved than before. Why do these people still defend him, and why do they have such a hard time taking his words seriously despite everything we've seen?
Yeah,
because he's real. He's as real as it's gonna get. There's no filter with him. He don't care what he say it out. He is. He's genuinely real. Ain't no fakeness about him. Ain't no fakeness about Miss Trump either. That's why she decided to go in there and get a photo and drink tea with somebody fake, the same people that had people go running through her house in her son's room. Miss me.
It's such an interesting thing, and I think that he wouldn't be successful if he didn't have these enablers, if he didn't have people who tried to
Trump
sort of
supporters,
the things that he's saying. And I think that it has really taught us a lot about some of the people that we've elected. It's taught us a lot about
which is y'all.
About cowardice. And look, I think that if you look at so many of the people who stood up, it has been young women, and it's been brave and courageous women and men, but people who've been willing to say, wait a minute, I am not going to go down that path of defending him. And I also think history is going to look back at all of this, and the people that have gone along, the people who have supported.
We are looking back. We're going to look back and say we did the right thing. History is looking like we did the right thing. The red map is showing that we did the right thing. And you and everybody else that turned your back on him did the wrong thing.
What he's saying every day and what they know he will do. they'll have to explain that to themselves and their kids and grandkids.
Their
I guess
dishonor
so.
will remain, as you said.
Well, it's incredible because, if someone had said something to him, like what he said to you, he'd be crying. Look at how they're treating me. They're so mean to me. I'm gonna get them. See, he can't take it.
Yeah.
And that is the lack of is not a
It's
surprise.
definition of a bully.
Oh, Lord, I'm
the Biden
glad
administration
it's
using FEMA
over.
funding to support.
I am glad it is over, y'all. I just got upset watching it. Yeah. And again, this was before all that. And you know what? I don't even know what made her go whatever way she wanted to go, but I'm glad. Because he don't need those type of people around him. It's like, what is it with y'all? I don't get it. Y'all go to the other side. Not only that, y'all lost all these lies and things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's the other way around. And now look, we get to sit back in history and tell our kids that we made America great again. We can tell our kids, we voted for Trump. The entire world damn near voted for Trump. So it is what it is. So continue to be salty with the View ladies, as they all are, and continue to swallow up this win that we got and catch that red wave. How about that? I'm so ticked off. But I'm glad I researched to find out what type of person she is. Y'all fill me in the comment section if I'm missing anything. I just wanted to know, like, who this lady was. Because I know she once used to work with Trump. That's why it's always good to research. You find that information for yourself. That's it for me, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Because this done ticked me off. I'm out.